happening, and it's another Hindi Diwas that has come along, and another face-off over Hindi promotion and the Diwas celebrations in Karnataka. JDS workers, including former Chief Minister H.D. Kumaraswamy, held a protest outside Vidhan Sauda today against Hindi Diwas celebrations. Just yesterday, HDK had written a letter to Chief Minister Bommai saying that celebrating Hindi Diwas would amount to injustice to the people of Karnataka and that state funds should not be used for this. Chief Minister Bommai had said on the floor of the House that the government is committed to the development of Kannada and that there is no question of a compromise. He also said that their aim is to bring in a law to make Kannada a mandatory language in the state. Both the BJP and the Congress central leadership and their central messaging has been very clear today. They are very much for the promotion of the language, Hindi language, as a link language or even the official language, even if their state units are a little uncomfortable with their idea, depending on which state you're talking about. But the question that persists is, why oppose Hindi promotion when it is one of the basic tenets of our constitution? And does promoting Hindi take anything away from any other language? Take a look. Article 343 of the Indian Constitution says that official language of the Union shall be Hindi in the Devanagari script. Article 351 says it is the duty of the Union to promote the spread of Hindi. Official Languages Act of 1963 made English and Hindi the chosen languages for official purposes of the central government and business in parliament, etc. So why even decades later we are mired in this controversy over Hindi promotion, which is often also termed Hindi imposition? So the big question today we're asking is, has Hindi opposition not just descended into parochialism? This has become a matter of fighting between states and centre, but the central question is, what is Hindi taking away from anybody else? Here's a look at what some of the leaders are saying. Let me go across to my guest joining us. Dr. Vaman Acharya is Senior Karnataka BJP spokesperson and T.R. Prasad Gowda is Senior JDS Leader. I'm coming to you, Mr. Gowda, first. Can you explain to me why this opposition by the JDS is happening this year? Because the BJP has said that this Diwas has been celebrated in the past too. Is it because the elections are upcoming in Karnataka?
No, it's not at all. See, the basic reason is the government is trying to making it as a official celebrations day on this day because they are going to spend money for this. What our leader is mentioning, let's do not spend money for the celebrations, because in our state of Karnataka, Bengaluru is facing, especially Bengaluru is flooded like anything, and televisions only showing that in the area Bengaluru area, Electronic City area, all those areas. Still, people are struggling. All the areas are flooded. The people are gone out of the house and take a shelter at hotels. And the people are struggling. And in the slums.
Is that the only reason then that this year there have been floods in Bengaluru, so you shouldn't celebrate it using state funds? Or do you have a principal opposition to the Hindi Diwas also?
No, madam. See, what we are trying to advise the government: do not spend money for this. And one thing, and do not and we are asking center not to impose in the.
But how is celebrating Hindi Diwas an imposition of the language, sir? That's what I'm coming to.
No, imposition of language. No, we are asking them not to impose language forcibly. We know Hindi.
But how does it do that? What is happening that justifies that allegation? Please explain.
See, categorically, our leader mentioned that Tamil Nadu is not made it as the official celebrations for, on this day, and Telangana we are not. And similarly, we do not want to celebrate as Hindi Diwas, and we are asking not to impose officially.
But sir, can you please explain to me what is being imposed on you? Can you give me any sense of any step that has happened? Any order or directive by the state government?
Yes. The center ordered already. Order to center. Center is trying to make it as official celebrations.
So how does Hindi Diwas celebrations I mean, how does it affect you? How is that an imposition? I don't understand. Why can't Karnataka celebrate Hindi? Do you not have Hindi-speaking people?
This. Why do you want to spend money for this? Government is going to spend for the celebrations and all. We do not want that our government exchequer to utilize this fund because we have many number of problems to look into that.
So
Not
if the
for
government has
celebrations.
enough money and enough budget, then you don't have a problem.
We are having problems. We are in problems, and the government is not able to solve many of the problems. Administrative is failed. Law and order is failed.
Okay.
And now flooding situations you are not able to control, not able to provide civic communities.
But sir, I am not
What is
understanding. Is your problem because there are other problems happening in Karnataka or Bengaluru, and those floodings have been a Bengaluru issue? Or your problem is that you don't want Hindi Diwas celebrated? I'm just trying to understand that from you.
We do not want.
You do not want. So that's what I'm asking you. What is your problem with the celebration of Hindi Diwas? Why can't you just celebrate? Why can't the government celebrate it? What is the imposition here?
Why and all we will not accept it.
Why not?
We do not want to celebrate Hindi
So sir,
Diwas.
when you are in power,
That's
you
what.
can take that call. No, you are not in power. How can you decide the agenda of the current government? You're in
Yes.
opposition. You don't get to dictate.
For in power,
Tomorrow, if
you
you are in power, you don't celebrate it. You celebrate Tipu Jayanti.
No, we know only to protest because till we come to the power.
But what
we will
is the
protest.
basis of this protest? What is the opposition here?
No, the opposition is that when we have many number of problems, when you are not able to
Okay.
solve, if you have sorted out all those problems, we
Then
would
you
have
can
not,
celebrate it. Till then,
asked
all
you to,
celebrations should
we
be
would-
put on hold. Okay.
we
Till
wouldn't
then,
have-
your leaders should not be throwing birthday bashes also. Surely the problems of Karnataka didn't go away when the tall leaders were throwing large birthday bashes. Anyways, I'll take that question to Dr. Vaman Acharya. Why are you spending money on this? Don't you have better things to spend money on?
We are not spending huge money on this. This is a national program. Hindi is practically a national language. It is not the question of celebrating a Hindi day. It is a question of people knowing one common language for the whole country, where I can communicate with the people of other states. Ours is a union of states. We all have to live together. When people accept a slavery language like English and other languages like Persian and others, in Karnataka, when Tipu Sultan was there, he has brought so many Persian words into the local Kannada language, and even today in revenue and police, those same words are being used. What I want to stress is we have slavery towards English, we have slavery towards Urdu and such languages. Why not have a language for the whole country? Question of imposition and all that are lame excuses. People still have that Dravidian mindset which Congress has put into their brain. Their brains are rotten because of this idea. Not that all Karnataka people are against. Only few people in and around Bengaluru are. They are more influenced by Tamil Nadu and Tamil culture, and especially the wrong culture of Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
Tamil Nadu is a very good
Let Mr.
state.
Gowda respond
You
to
may
that.
wonder,
That this
Dakshina
is
Bharat-
purely parochial politics. It is a phenomena that is emerging from Tamil Nadu, now seeping into Karnataka politics.
It has seeped only up to Bangalore, fortunately. You go to
Think.
Hyderabad, Karnataka,
Position.
very easy.
If we want to celebrate without spending money, let them celebrate. Because when we have a lot of problems,
Yes,
and
permitted.
instead of having so many problems, if you have solved all those
My
problems,
friend,
you wouldn't have
my
protested.
friend has
But when
permitted
you have-
the government
One second.
graciously. His
Second.
greatness has permitted the government to celebrate the day, but not spend the money. That is okay. It is his opinion.
Yeah.
But the question is, why hatred towards the language of your own brethren? Not that Hindi people live in Karnataka.
Yeah, and
But
let me
I am
add to that. Let me
interested-
add to that.
I am
Dr. Vaman
worried.
Acharya, please let Mr. Gowda respond. I think we got your point. Let me add to that. There was also a statement made by a senior JDS leader today that, what is the point of celebrating Hindi or learning Hindi? Eventually, you go and sell Pani Puri. Do we go and sell Pani Puri? That is not a principled opposition to an imposition. That is pure hatred. That is vitiating the atmosphere. against Hindi speakers.
This is pure
Are you going to
hatred.
tomorrow
Learning-
throw out all Hindi
le-
speakers
le-
out of the state?
Learning more than one language increases your brain capacity. To
Sir,
learn
I
more
get
and
that.
more languages, it is always good.
No, it
People
is
here
always
at
good,
Bengaluru
but
speak
let him
really
respond
Tamil.
to that.
I am not
That is
opposed
this
to.
purely about hate against Hindi and Hindi speakers? Mr. Gowda.
That's all. That's all.
Yeah. Can you come again, the question?
I'm saying that a senior JDS leader is also on camera to say that why do you need to learn or celebrate Hindi? Eventually, these people go and sell Pani Puri. That doesn't sound like a principled opposition to Hindi Diwas or its celebration or the money being spent on it. That sounds like pure hatred.
No, it's not the question of hatred, because the people, center people, who are holding administration at the center, they are forcibly imposing Hindi. Out of frustration, he made that statement. Because when we have what he meant was, when we have a lot of problems, there is no, and not that we don't know Hindi. We also know Hindi. Not the question of today. There is no necessity for him to impose or anything forcibly. Everybody knows Hindi. There is no and do not try to drag the attention of the people doing by all these things, sentimental things. And we are trying to tell them concentrate on administration, concentrate on law and order, which is failed in the state of Karnataka. Concentrate on civic communities, concentrate on infrastructure. That's what we are trying
That's
to tell
fair
them.
enough, but
And we are not,
does
we are not
one
here to
preclude the
politicize
other?
this issue. We are just telling
While
not
any
way.
government in the state
Is
sorts out
another
issues
language
of the
coming in the
state,
way of
does
doing
it
all this?
suspend all celebrations?
Vaman Acharya ji is mentioning if the government is going in that way, okay, it's okay. They are not doing in that way. Amit Shah ji asked the government to impose it very strictly.
Sir,
here
what
in
is
Karnataka.
the imposition
Here
here?
in
I'm trying to understand.
One
Let's say
second.
the government is celebrating Hindi Divas. What is the imposition here? How is the language being imposed on anybody? And I just earlier in the show read out how the constitution makes it the duty of the union to promote Hindi. So this is coming very much from our basic principles of the constitution. How can a state government even not want to follow those directives? And let's say the BJP has its own agenda. They're not shying away from it. They want to promote Hindi. Tomorrow you're in power, you can have your own agenda. You can't drive the agenda of the current government while sitting in opposition. That has become a fixation of the opposition these days. Get elected, then do what you want. But you can't stop the current government from just a Hindi Divas celebration.
You cannot say not to protest.
Okay,
And
but
you are
I'm
in
asking
power,
you, what
do
is
you
your
do,
principal
whatever.
opposition to it? The principal opposition that you have outlined to me is that don't spend state money. It can go to better uses. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Good.
Mr. Acharya, please respond. I have a final couple of minutes.
I have already told, as far as spending of the money is concerned, it is such a minuscule amount and there is a special budget kept for such activities only. So no worry, Karnataka will do other activities also. I don't understand how Hindi comes in the way of doing flood related activities or road problem activities. For such activities, a language will not come in the way. So learning more languages helps and improves your intelligence. Not only Hindi, you learn another language. You learn Sanskrit also. Who has said no? You learn Tamil, which is our neighborhood language. Even at Bangalore, more than 40% of the people speak Telugu, which is again our another neighbor. So Telugu, Tamil, Kannada, all these languages, learning is not wrong. But if you learn Hindi, you will be acceptable throughout the country. You can move anywhere. You need not sell only Pani Puri. You can sell all the good things that are there in Karnataka outside. Or you can even buy a culture, brotherhood, and love towards the nation comes through a language. So language is very important. I am a Kannadiga. I speak only Kannada. And you come and see the boards in front of my house, the letterheads I use, everything is Kannada. Not that I am against it, but not having a national language through which you can communicate people throughout the country. You are going shamelessly towards English for this. I have to express myself in English, unfortunately.
Okay,
If
Mr.
this would
Gowda,
have
do
been
you
the case
not
for
agree
me
on
to
this
do it in
point
Hindi,
that instead
Yes.
of English as a quote-unquote linked language, there is no official status of a linked language, but let's say
Right.
you want to promote Hindi as a linked language. Do you oppose Hindi as a linked language? It is already spoken
No.
by nearly half of
No,
the
no.
country.
No, more than half, because even if suppose Maharashtra, Gujarat, they can easily follow.
Yeah,
because the
fair enough.
language
First speakers,
system
maybe less than half a little bit,
Right.
but as the second or third language, lot more people understand or can speak Hindi. Yes, Mr. Gowda. Is your principal opposition to Hindi being used as a linked language instead of English? And if so, why?
No. Our party opposition is different. You are trying to project the other way. Yeah, and our opposition is simple, very simple. Do not impose forcibly. First, number one. Number two, when we are in problem, when and city is in problem, when Karnataka state is in problem, when you are failed in administration, when you are failed in law and order, when you are maintaining flood situation is so bad, and now you are trying to celebrate by spending money exchequer. Vaman Acharya ji is telling now we are not spending money from the government. Okay, that is acceptable. If they cannot spend money from the government, and we got the answer. But whether have they done it in the way Vaman Acharya ji has told, the way Vaman Acharya ji has told, we will accept it. But they have not done.
I'll
like
leave
that.
it at that.
They
I
have
think
not
both
done
sides
like
have been heard enough. Anyways, most of the day is gone. Hindi Diwas is mostly over. We'll see how this continues to develop in the state, and is it with an eye on the next upcoming state elections. Thanks a lot to both of our guests for joining us. We slip into a very short break now. On the other side, the day's biggest stories.